Right, and we are live. Welcome to another Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. My name is Dr. Oya Ma'at, and I am the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions. Every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., a group of sisters, we come together and we meet and we talk about issues that are on the minds of the sisters or the sisterhood. Today, we have a very, very powerful discussion ahead of us. We will be discussing the Philando Castile verdict, Black people's response, or the Black community's response to the verdict, and preventive action. So I normally have like a panel of sisters. We have Sister Monica. She's on the panel right now, but she's currently involved in a program. So I know she's there, and she'll probably be joining us in a second. And I have with us brother, I call him Dark Matter. What do you want to go by, brother?
Oh, Dark Warrior's fine.
Dark Warrior.
Yeah.
Brother Dark Warrior on the panel because he has a program in the DMV area that will assist the Black community with preventive action against, police brutality or future violence, future incidents of police brutality. So anyway, before we get started, we normally venerate the ancestors. And we call out the names of our female ancestral lineage. But today, since we are talking about police brutality, I would like to call the names of these victims of police brutality whose cases resulted in a non or no conviction. All right, so I want to call the name of Philando Castile at this moment. Please respond with Ashe, Brother Dark Warrior.
Absolutely.
Philando Castile.
Ashe.
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 Terrence Crutcher.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Sandra Bland.
Ashe.
Eric Garner.
Ashe.
Michael Brown.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Rakia Boyd.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Sean Bell.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Samir Rice.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Freddie Gray.
Ashe.
Dan Royal Henry.
Ashe.
Oscar Grant.
Ashe.
Kendrick Medade.
Ashe.
Ayanna Jones.
Ashe.
Ramarley Graham.
Ashe.
Amadou Diallo.
Ashe.
Trayvon Martin.
Ashe.
John Crawford III.
Ashe.
Jonathan Farrell.
Ashe.
Timothy Stansberry Jr.
Ashe.
Alton Sterling.
Ashe.
Keith Childress.
Ashe.
Betty Jones.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Kevin Matthews.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Clint Allen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Leroy Browning.
Ashe.
Roy Nelson.
Ashe.
Miguel Espinal.
Ashe.
Nathaniel Pinkett.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Cornelius Brown.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Chandra Weaver.
Ashe.
Jamal Clark.
Ashe.
Corey Gaines.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ring Gaines, I'm sorry.
Ashe.
Richard Perkins.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Stephen Tucson.
Ashe.
Michael Lee Marshall.
Ashe.
Alonzo Smith.
Ashe.
Evan Sade.
Ashe.
Anthony Ashworth.
Ashe.
Lamontez Jones.
Ashe.
Rashawn Cole.
Ashe.
Dante Martin.
Ashe.
And I would like to just state that all of these people, and I didn't name all of the victims of police brutality. I probably called the names of about 25 individuals, but there was no conviction for any of these. There was no justice for any of the names that I called, which is sad. The list goes on and on and on when it comes to, convictions and the killing of our people. All right. So I just wanted to venerate those fallen brothers and sisters, who fell a victim to police brutality. So instead of venerating, they are ancestors now technically, but usually we venerate ancestors who fought for the liberation of our people. But today, I definitely wanted to pay homage to those brothers and sisters who the brothers and sisters who fell a victim to police brutality, who are victims of police brutality. So let's move on with hot topics. I don't even know if this is a hot topic. Yesterday, social media went crazy because they announced that Prodigy, who is the second half, and let me show his picture. Prodigy. Do you see my picture? Do you see the picture, Sister Monica and Sister?
Yes.
Yes. So Prodigy died yesterday. I believe they said in Las Vegas. Some people are saying that he choked on an egg, and other people are saying that other reportings are saying that it was due to sickle cell complications. But nonetheless, we have lost a hip hop legend, Prodigy. And, I remember Prodigy from Mobb Deep. I used to listen to a lot of their music in the 90s. And I'm a huge Mobb Deep fan. And so, I was kind of sick yesterday when I found out that he transitioned. The brother was only 42. I'm not sure if he has children or was married. I don't know if any of you know those details, but I know that we lost him yesterday, a hip hop legend. And I just want to take this time to acknowledge him and just to say rest in paradise to brother Prodigy. Would you like to add something, Dark Matter, or Sister Monica? Would you like to say some words about Prodigy, and if you're familiar with his music or a fan of his music?
Very familiar with it. When Shook Ones came out, I had just moved up to the DC area, so that definitely had I guess played a big part in my heart, because it took me back to the first moment that I heard his music. So may he rest in peace, definitely.
Sister Monica? Okay, so she must have left back out. But yes, my favorite Mobb Deep album was, I think it was called The Infamous Mobb Deep. And
yes,
on that album, they had a track called Give Up the Goods. And that song, I love the beat, the content was a little crazy, they talking about robbing and all that, but that was my favorite track on the infamous Mobb Deep album. And so that one, and then they had Temperatures Rising. That was another track.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I mean, they complemented each other a lot, because Havoc was the brainchild behind the music, especially with that 808 snare that he used a lot. So it really, they were really on the money. That was a timely album, and I definitely will miss that brother. I really do. In fact, he's just done an album with AZ and Raekwon the Chef. He just came out with a single.
I didn't know that, but now you're gonna have me online searching for that album. So he just did one with Raekwon. You said an AZ?
AZ, yes. That single just came out. Absolutely.
Wow. So I gotta check it out. Yeah. Online and check it out. But
absolutely.
And I'm like, when I was telling my son who's 17, I said, Prodigy, we lost Prodigy. And he remembered, he knows who Prodigy is, because he's heard of Mobb Deep. But his reaction is different. Like, the young people, they don't know Mobb Deep, or Havoc or Prodigy. And, hip hop just isn't the same anymore. And I had that whole talk with him yesterday. I said, the hip hop that you guys, or the music that you guys recognize as hip hop, is not the type of music that we recognize as hip hop. Mobb Deep, that was hip hop. Talib Kweli, and Nubian, Wu-Tang, Pop, Biggie, all of them, that was hip hop. And hip hop the music that they recognize as hip hop, because I don't even want to call that hip hop. The music that is recognized as hip hop today is not the music that we recognize as such. So, it was kind of like an interesting conversation I had with my son yesterday when I was talking to him about Mobb Deep and the death of Prodigy. So rest in paradise to the brother Prodigy. And I was hoping to get with some of the brothers in the community, because I used to rap, brother Dark Warrior. I don't know if you ever saw my little video on Facebook. It went viral, several months ago. Back in the day, I used to rap, and my sons and them, they laugh when they hear like my old stuff from when I was 16, 17. But
right.
yeah, I used to rap, and why did I mention that? Oh, so I was gonna get with some of the brothers in the community to see if maybe we could like take the Shook Ones instrumental and just everybody just we could do a virtual cipher, even if we do it on YouTube or Google Hangout, where we just pay tribute to our brother Prodigy. So the brothers said that they were with it. I contacted the Brick Foundation. I contacted Ill Conscious, and I also contacted a brother by the name of Middlek. And all of these brothers are brothers who are known, in the quote unquote conscious community. So I said, look, y'all, we need to do a little cipher with Shook Ones on it. Maybe if we can get the female Ciroc on it, that would be hot. We just do a little, do a little Shook Ones challenge where we, maybe do a little cipher on YouTube or something, or do a video on our Facebook page, in honor of Brother Prodigy. So hopefully the brothers are game, and hopefully the brothers are game for that. I know I'm up for it. But moving on, man. Moving on to the topic at hand, which is the Philando Castile verdict. So let's look at Philando Castile. This brother was murdered live on Facebook. I can't remember. I know this was a few months ago, or maybe sometime last year, but he was murdered on Facebook Live. And I got to admit, when I was tagged in the video while it was on, someone tagged me in the video and they were like, Dr. Ma'at, you got to see this. And when they tagged me in the video, this was after I saw the video after he was already shot. So he was laying there, and, the girlfriend, of course, she was very dramatic. She was upset. She's panicking. She's like, oh my gosh, they just shot him. So I see this guy laying, on the door, in a white shirt with blood splattered all over the shirt. And initially, I have to admit this, Dark Warrior, I thought it was a joke. I mean, I was in, when I first saw it, because a lot of things, we see a lot of things on social media. So when I first saw it, I said, oh my goodness, who tagged me in this crap? I said, this has to be a joke. So the girlfriend, I think they took her out of the car, they put her in the back of the police car, and the video was kind of choppy. So I said, well, maybe someone is piecing together this video and, trying to get a rise out of people and putting it on social media. So it wasn't until the next day that I'm driving my kids to school, and I'm listening to, I believe it was Ricky Smiley morning show or something like that. And, they were discussing it. They were like, yeah, a brother, by the name of Philando Castile, he was murdered by, a police officer on Facebook Live. And I felt horrible, because I'm like, wow, I actually thought it was a joke. I said, this isn't real, and I turned it off, only to find out that what I saw was real. And I felt terrible that I couldn't react. It's kind of like when you see these things go on, on social media and it's live, we're not even in the same state. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, what can we do, or how can we respond, to what we're seeing? But it was very painful for me to watch it. And then I went back and I watched the entire video. I cried because, remember, Philando Castile was murdered, I believe, either the day after or the day before Alton Sterling. So these were back-to-back police shootings. And so I remember, I hear some noise. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So, so these were like back-to-back. These were back-to-back shootings. So I remember, having to sit down and talk to my sons about, police officers and about these murders. And I just started crying in front of them. And they were like, why are you crying? And I said, because, each day that you leave me, I'm afraid of what could happen to you. Like each day that you're out of my sight and you take the car to go run to the store, or you take the car to go hang out with some friends, I'm afraid that I'm going to get a phone call, and that's stressful, as Black mothers, to not know that when we send our male sons, and not even male sons, because females aren't exempt either. So as Black mothers and fathers, when we send our children out here in the world, if they're going to return to us. And right now, that is the threat, or that is the fear or plight of the Black community when our children go out here. And it's not like, and aside from, people want to say Black on Black violence and all of that, aside from that, we're getting murdered by people who are paid to protect and serve us. These are the people that are murdering us. And so, I definitely felt that we need to have a discussion about this. I know a lot of people had videos up discussing the Philando Castile verdict, but I felt like we needed to have a discussion, about it. So let me go into the CNN article really quick. It says officer who shot Philando Castile found not guilty on all counts. So I thought he was going to at least get manslaughter, something. He was found guilty, not guilty, on all counts. Now, this article was published about 5 days ago. It says St. Paul, Minnesota, Geronimo Yanez, the Minnesota police officer who fatally shot Philando Castile during a traffic stop last year, was found not guilty of second-degree manslaughter. So they didn't even give this guy, they didn't even charge him with first or second-degree murder. He was charged with manslaughter, second-degree manslaughter, and he was found not guilty. It says he was also acquitted of 2 counts of intentional discharge of firearm that endangers safety. Now, when I first read this article, Dark Warrior, to be acquitted of 2 counts of intentional discharge of a firearm that endangers safety, I don't understand how he was acquitted. I don't know if it's because I'm ignorant, to some capacity of the law. But when I watched that video, this guy clearly, he was laying there, and I went back to watch it. The officer just shot him. He told the officer, look, I'm reaching for my wallet. It has my permit in it. I do have a gun in the car because I have a permit to carry a gun. I have a license. I'm going to reach for my wallet. So he's telling the police officer this. The police officer tells him it's okay to get the wallet and then shoots him. And this is video. So I can't, I'm wondering, how was he acquitted of the charge of, intentional discharge of a firearm that endangers safety, when we clearly saw that he intentionally discharged the firearm. So anyway, it says Castile's death garnered widespread attention and sparked nationwide protests over the use of force by police after his girlfriend broadcast the shootings. Several members of Castile family screamed profanities and cried after the verdict was announced, despite warnings from the judge that everyone in the courtroom should remain composed. Let me go, yelled Castile mother Valerie. The families of Castile and Yanez were escorted out of separate courtroom exits. At least 13 officers were present in the small courtroom. Outside the court, Valerie Castile said she was disappointed in the state of Minnesota because nowhere in the world do you die from being honest and telling the truth. That's a fact. She said the system continues to fail Black people. That's a fact. She said, my son loved this city and this city killed my son and the murderer gets away. Are you kidding me right now? That's a fact. She said, we are not evolving as a civilization. We are devolving. We're going back down to 1969. What is it going to take? Now, this is what I would have to say to the sister, and I put this on Facebook a while ago. She says that we're devolving, that we're going back to the 1960s. What I would say to her is that we're not going back. This stuff has always gone on.
Right, exactly, yes.
It never stopped. It didn't stop since the day we set foot on the shores of North, South, and Central America. They have always murdered Black men, women, and children. It's just now we have technology, we have social media, so you see it more. I remember brothers and sisters kept saying, oh my goodness, it's an epidemic. A lot of us are getting murdered by police, man. You see it on, the news, you see it on, social media. They've always murdered us. This is nothing new. Brothers and sisters need to read the book. I believe it's called 100 Years of Lynching. I forgot the name of the author. But in that book, it talks about the lynching of Black people. This has always gone on. So we're not devolving at all. What we're witnessing is a continuum of abuse and violence against the Black citizens of the United States. So it says, I didn't want to shoot. The jury was composed of 8 men and 4 women, including 1 black man and 1 black woman. So am I to assume, Brother Dark Warrior, that so out of these 12 people, there were only 2 black people? So
well, let me say this. First and foremost, I think the moment that sister made the comment about that she's thinking that we are regressing or going back to the 69, that is a test some of you believing has done, because it's not in our face anymore. The blatant lynching, the blatant subliminal.
You're breaking up, Brother Dark Warrior.
All right, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Sorry about that. What I was just saying is briefly, her statement to think that we are going back to 69 is an unfortunate testament that some of our brothers and sisters have never really been mindful that it has always been here, that we have got caught into the trance that things have been fine, and it never has been. I'll say this, for them having 2 melanated people in the jury means absolutely nothing to me anymore, and it hasn't been within the last 25, 30 years. All you are is melanated, but is your state of mind such? Because and that's another thing that we have to start trying to get out of our subconscious, to think that we presume so much that melanated people are alike. We are not alike, so therefore we're not going to be alike, and we're definitely not going to see alike. Lord, you have to minimize some of your expectation to think that we are all the same, and that's unfortunate, but it's going to save you in the long run, in my personal opinion.
I agree. I agree, Brother PFK Boom in Baltimore. He says it all the time. All black ain't black, and he says it a lot.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. Just because we may look like each other or share the same, ethnicity, doesn't mean that that people are down for you or got your back.
No.
And so it says that the jury was composed of 8 men and 4 women, including 1 black man and 1 black woman. Jurors deliberated 27 hours and heard 2 weeks of testimony about the July 6th traffic stop in which Yanez pulled over a car driven by Castile, 32, with his girlfriend Diamond Reynolds and her 4-year-old daughter as passengers. So look, can you imagine look at what this 4-year-old has experienced. So can you imagine the psychological effects on this 4-year-old, the psychological effects that this will have on this 4-year-old black child? It says an audio recording captured Castile telling Yanez he had a gun in the car, and the officer telling Castile not to reach for it. Oh, I didn't know that he told him not to reach for it, because from what I heard on the video, I thought he told him it was okay to reach for it. It says seconds later, Yanez opened fire. Prosecutors portrayed Yanez as a nervous officer who lost control of his traffic stop. He was too quick to pull the trigger after learning Castile had a gun, based on an unreasonable suspicion that he was a robbery suspect, they said. Yanez, a St. Anthony officer, testified he feared for his life. Now, have you noticed, I see that we got a whole panel of brothers and sisters on. Have you noticed, family, that in every case, now prior to everyone getting on, I talked about, I listed or called out the names of about 20 to 25 people who were murdered by police officers and there was no conviction. Have you noticed that in each of these cases, the officer says, I feared for my life? And, according to the law, if an officer feels like he or she is in fear of their life, then they can discharge the firearm. But I believe that is why a lot of them are getting off. Can somebody on the panel expound on that? Because I hear that a lot. I fear for my life. I fear for my life. Can we kind of talk about that for a moment? This fear?
Yeah, well, I can say this from experience, okay? That is a coachable term to save face on what you've done on a wrongful death. This was a blatant assassination. Nothing more, nothing less. There is no fear. There is not that much more fear of you pulling that vehicle over than you are having a clear view of what's taking place in front of you. you're not dealing with a darkly tinted vehicle and you are unable to see the individual. You're looking right at the individual. You're looking at every part, every bit of their movement. There is nothing more than just blatant prejudice and blatant racism and blatant discontent of that young man. Nothing more, nothing less. It was no fear involved. Because if it's that much fear, then you shouldn't be on the damn force. Exactly. And that's just my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion, and that's my 17 years of experience talking here. That's my 17 years talking. Okay.
Oh yeah, and so and what you said with that was key was that they're being coached to say this. I fear for my life. I fear for my life because I've noticed, that's consistent in all of the cases that I've looked at. Each case that I've read about, and I've read 20 to 25 cases. In each case, the officer says, "I feared for my life." Yes. And so, like you said, so they're being coached to say this.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Does anybody else?
And I'm sorry, real quickly. The only reason why I'm choosing to just stay in the position that I'm in, I've got a couple more years before I retire. But I'm telling you right now, we just hired the department that I'm on just hired 4 classes of all white men, 24 people each, 24, and every last one of them are white boys, and none of them are from the DMZ area. None. They're right. They've been infiltrating the system, and they've been bringing their prejudice into the system. The problem that I'm having is our people are not infiltrating enough into the very same system that they're dominating, so we can bring back our own protection in our communities, right? So, in whatever reason there is, okay, I'm not going to get into that. They are infiltrating this, and it is blatant. And I'm telling people now, you got to start trying to be that spook that sat behind the door. You have to. You have to.
And, I just want to add to what you just said, Brother Dark Warrior. When you say that they're hiring people outside of the area, and right here in Baltimore, I live in the Owens Mills, Randallstown, Woodlawn area. And police that patrol these areas are guys or white guys from out Delaware and Pennsylvania. They get them. Bingo. Yeah, they get the guys from these are young white cops who are from Delaware and Pennsylvania to patrol, the Baltimore County West area. So I agree 100% with you. I do see that they get the outsiders to come in and patrol. And these people that they're getting to come in and patrol these communities don't look like the inhabitants of the community.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm. So okay.
No vested interest whatsoever.
Oh no, they don't. Yeah, they don't care. Like you said, they don't have no vested interest. They don't care. They don't. They at the end of the day, they're like, I don't live here. I live in Delaware. I live in Pennsylvania. They could care less what goes on in these communities. But all right. So let me go ahead. I want to knock this article out. Let me see. Fear for his life, but Castile put his hand on his firearm, not his wallet or identification papers, and was pulling the gun from his pocket. So that's what he testified. I didn't want to shoot Mr. Castile, Yanez testified. That wasn't my intention. I thought I was going to die. Yanez's lawyers alleged Castile had been smoking marijuana the day of the shooting, which they said affected his judgment. Castile was bleeding heavily in the Facebook video, but managed to say he wasn't reaching for his gun, which he had a permit to carry. His girlfriend said Castile was reaching for his ID in his back pocket when he was shot. And I'm more inclined to believe that. Castile's fully loaded gun was found in his shorts pocket, Ramsey County prosecutor said. Reynolds issued a statement Friday saying Castile was pulled over because he had a wide nose, like a robbery suspect who was being sought. He did nothing but comply with Officer Yanez's instructions to get his driver's license exactly. He was seatbelted and doing as he was told when he was shot by Officer Yanez, who fired 7 shots into the vehicle where my daughter and I sat. It is a sad state of affairs when this type of criminal conduct is condoned simply because Yanez is a police officer. God help America. It says CNN has not obtained a statement from Yanez or his lawyers. Yanez to leave the force. Castile was killed one day after the July 5th fatal police shooting of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which was partly captured by bystander video. Those shootings sparked protests nationwide and renewed the debate over the relationship between law enforcement and the communities to serve. The federal government announced last month that it will not prosecute the officers in the Sterling killing. So remember earlier today, when I mentioned Alton Sterling, among all of those names, I said that none of these people, they had no justice. They died and there was no justice, and that there was no conviction for any of these killings. It says had he been convicted, Yanez could have been sentenced to 10 years in prison and fined $20,000 on manslaughter charge, and 5 years and fined $5,000 on each of the other charges. All right, so now you have NAACP chiming in on the verdict, and that's about it. I want to keep on reading because I want to show this video of Philando Castile's mom, how she felt about the verdict. This is a 2-minute video.
I'm still trying to be strong and not say the wrong things because I know how they get down. I'm 61 years old. I've seen it. I've smelled it. I've heard it. Now you see exactly what these motherfuckers think about us. They murdered my motherfucking son with his seatbelt on. So what does that say to you? Now they got free reign to keep killing us any kind of way they want to. So I just want to say one thing to everybody out there. I don't give a fuck what you do. Do what your heart desires, because that shit wasn't right. And I'm here to say that, and fuck the police. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. Now this is the real Valerie Castile. I don't give no fuck no more. This shit is crazy. You gonna kill a man in front of a child and a woman. Who gonna bring some children to a motherfucking gunfight? Come the fuck on. Please. I don't know where they got them motherfucking jurors from, but that was some straight up bullshit. And they gonna keep on killing us as long as we sit down and just take it. Oh yeah, he was in fear for his life. Bull motherfucking shit. You shouldn't be no police officer if you gonna handle yourself in that manner. Do what you do, because this shit gonna keep on happening, and it's gonna be you one day in this fucked up mother's club with their children murdered by the motherfucking police. I don't give no fuck. Man, y'all just don't know how sister feeling right now. If I had it my way, it's on and cracking. Fuck that shit. I'm sick of this shit. Y'all been killing motherfuckers all these years, but here in Minnesota, this cracker Bama ass motherfucking state, fuck these motherfuckers. And with that, peace out. Do your motherfucking thing. Whatever. Have a nice life. I hope that motherfucker die tonight. Hello.
Totally different response. Totally different response than the Trayvon Martin. Let me stop sharing my screen. Totally different response than Trayvon Martin's parents. Totally different response. You know, this sister is saying, look, you know, I'm not going to sit up here and preach a message of peace and forgiveness. She said, y'all do what you want to do. And, you know, she said, because, you know, one day you might be a mother whose son or daughter was murdered by police officers. And she's 100% correct. That's why Dr. Martin Luther King said that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's a fact. So, you know, you got brothers and sisters who are keeping up, you know, with these sort of stories online and not reaching out or participating in protests or, you know, coming together to think about preventive actions. But one day it could be you and your damn family in the courthouse, you know, in the courthouse. Sister Raziki, chime in, sis. I see you. Chime in, sis. What are your thoughts? Sis. I can't hear you.
I can't hear her either.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all, sis. And your mic isn't muted.
Yeah, she can't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't hear her.
Hey, Raziki, go out and come back in and see if that'll fix it. But you know, I agree with that, sister. Like, I'm tired of the protests. Obviously, that's not helping. You know, protests, rioting. We're at a point where we have to do something, or else it could be your daughter, it could be your son, it could be your mother, your father, your wife, or your husband. Just in Baltimore, here she comes. Hopefully it works. Sister Raziki.
Yeah, it's still not working.
Wow, sis. I don't know what happened.
You know, Doc, I won't lie to you. I mean, listen, you know, our gosh, I can't. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Our melanin comes first. My melanin as an African it comes before anything else that I do. We're not going to achieve our goal without fighting.
No.
And I just hate to say it. I just hate to say it. Unfortunately, you're going to have to fight back. And but the sad part about it is we've got some pretty good people out here that's really trying to do their best in that uniform. I work with some good brothers that's just like me. They may not necessarily have the courage or the means to articulate how they feel about the circumstances. And some are just rightly a little bit confused on what to do or what to say. But I will say this. We're going to have to start fighting back. I'm talking about deacons of defense type style. There's a book out there, We Will Shoot Back. You know, Negroes with Guns. There's several books out there that advocated and showed how we fight back. You're going to have to arm yourself in learning how to regain your honor, your dignity, and your self-respect. And we can't do that as long as we keep marching, singing, and praying to some fictitious character that hasn't been working for us since their arrival out of the cage, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay, perfect. What I was saying was, and some people may feel some sort of way about this, but when I hear about these stories, you know what? I don't even follow it no more because of the simple fact of I don't like feeling the very feeling that everybody is feeling. You know what I mean? Like, it in a way, like all that, like. And I'm looking on it on a deeper level. I really feel like a lot of this has to do with like sorcery. And when I say that, I mean that because we as a people, we're so visual, we're so spiritual. And a lot of these things happen for the mere purpose of continuing to down our spirit. You know what I mean? Like, we as a people continue reliving this feeling of, you know, being inferior or, you know, being hunted. Like, all of this stuff happens as a mental and emotional and spiritual game to keep imprinting this reminder of you're in fear, like, you know, just really pumping fear in us. And so I definitely agree with the brother who was just speaking. You know, we want all this change, but I just get tired of talking about it because many of us, we not ready to put up no work. You know what I mean? If a police officer was wrongfully kicking an old woman's ass outside, how many people would actually jump in? Nobody. You know what I mean? I think when we get to the point, well, no, I feel you. Some of us, but for,
you know, I've been there and done that, sis. You know, I feel like,
yeah. Now, the most I did was a security guard, but I ain't jumping on no officer. But my point is, as a community, you know, we have to be ready for this kind of stuff. And not to mention, I feel like too, and I, you know, I don't advocate it, you know, but one thing I will give credit to when I was studying with the Moors as far as the Great Seal was them teaching me, like, know law, understand law, and understand that there are certain things that we could do as a people to own a neighborhood on private property where the police don't have jurisdiction in our communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be a serious mass organizing of our economics, our political structure, our knowing our self-defense. You know what I mean? It's just so much. It's so many moving pieces. It's not just one answer. And yes, I'm hurt. I think that's so foul to shoot a man in front of a child. You know, they're not thinking of what damage you did to this child. But on the flip side, too, there are quite a few people who are just like, listen, I'm tired of all these crisis actors, because in your right mind, what woman and in this moment of whatever is going to pull out her phone and go Facebook Live and all this other stuff? So it's like our people, we don't know which way to go. Some people believe like this is just fake. This is just another stunt to recreate or re-imprint this fear mentality. And, you know, others, yeah, we could be upset. But again, okay, now what? I'm tired of being upset. Like, I'm over that shit. Like, all right, what next? Tell me what to do so we can execute.
And sis, I'm with you 100%. And that's why Brother Dark Warrior and I, we were just, before we started this show, we were building. And I'm like, brother, we need to talk about preventive action.
Right.
What can we do to prevent something like this from happening again in our community? And what I would say is that, you know, let me mention this. Last week, I saw a video on Facebook. I don't know where this happened. I don't know if it was in people in the chat to help me out. But there was an incident. I think it was Milwaukee. A brother and sister, they were driving a truck, and I hear some noise in the background. Brother Dark Warrior, is that you?
Sorry about that. I'm just moving. I'm just getting out of my car. I'm listening.
All right. But there was an incident. I believe it was in Milwaukee. There was a brother and sister driving a truck. Police officers tried to pull the truck over. Or tell them to stop. They wouldn't stop. So then the police officers fired into the truck, shot the driver in the head, and there was a female in the passenger seat. They drug her out. She was shot. They drug her out of the car, threw her on the ground. The guy in the back seat, they drug him out. He was shot. They threw him on the ground. I heard that they intentionally, or I read that they intentionally blocked the paramedics so that no one would get through to give these brothers and sisters medical care.
Oh my God!
They left.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they left the guy on the ground for hours. They left the sisters on the ground for hours, and they were even like caught European spectators who put up videos on YouTube, and they were saying how police intentionally blocked the ambulance from getting through so that these people couldn't get medical care. And they were saying how the black woman was just on the ground shaking, how her leg was just shaking, and initially crying, and then, so we don't know whether they died or not. I didn't keep up with the story, but this is the point that I'm trying to make. While I'm watching this video, and no disrespect, Brother Dark Warrior,
come on, sweetie, come on.
I just got to give that disclaimer because I don't want my brothers to think that I'm, that I'm male bashing. But what was very disheartening, about watching this video is I see these brothers with the phones out, right? Oh man, look at what's going on, man. Look at what's going on. And here go the black women behind them. Man, you see what's going on, sis? You see what's going on? What happened to the men that say, hold up, wait a minute, let's go form the militia, let's go get some weaponry, let's go do
right. Thank you.
Sister Raziki, they sat there, pulled out their cell phones, started recording the incident, and gossip with the women. I mean, literally, sis, they started turning to the women. It was like I didn't even see males anymore. I just saw.
Right, like, girl, you see what happening, girl?
You see, like, come on. You see a brother on the ground dead, and it was only 5 officers at the time. So it was a bunch of them. 5 police officers. 5.
And that's my point, sis. What you said is what I'm saying. Instead of forming we pulling out cell phones. That's why I was like, if somebody was kicking an old woman's ass right now, how many of y'all would pull out cell phones, or how many of y'all would, actually do something?
They wouldn't do nothing. They wouldn't do anything.
Do you want the official answer from a brother's perspective or unofficial answer?
Man, we keep it real on this show.
These honestly, and I'm trying to get rid of my isfet as much as possible, but I'm going to set it to a side for a moment. Yeah. These niggas out here are bitches. How about that? and excuse my language because I don't speak like that.
But that's a fact, though.
But honestly, these dudes out here are built like aluminum foil. And what they have succumbed to is the whole idea that even our own women don't deserve any type of protection. Look how they discredit our women. I get into these arguments all the time when I'm in the barbershop or out and about, and I'm hearing how these dudes talk sideways about women and how they use all of these types of derogatory names. These dudes out here are not only are they a bunch of bitch ass dudes, but they're procreating and they bringing some more bitch ass dudes into the world.
Come on.
And I hate to speak that way, but I got to. They're not the older generation like me. I just turned 46 Monday. The older, thank you, I appreciate it. I say that for the simple fact that the generation of cats like me who don't mind putting these hands to work, we're slowly succumbing to Father Time, and this newer generation don't want to listen to us. And all they want to hear is that dumbass music and drive around like they thorough because they got a bunch of cell phones and tattoos, and they're not in it for the benefit of our race.
Now,
and so therefore, you're getting the product of some bitch ass dude that had a bitch ass son, and it's continuously growing. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't mind warfare when it comes to what's right or wrong. I've been in trouble on several occasions on my job. I've even gotten suspended on my job a couple of times because of my mouth, because I stand up against that prejudice bullcrap. This is an actual fact. But I can't do it alone when all these other guys on my job don't want to have my back. And the only time they ever want to stand up, and this is real talk, sis. The only time dudes on my job in the police department that I'm on ever talk about racism is if they don't get the position that they want, they don't get promoted the way they want, they don't get some type of training. That's the only time racism ever exists with them. That's an actual fact. This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with. And so I'm on my own. Like, I mean, I'm ice skating uphill.
Yeah.
And that
is important to feel supported, because that is another reason why, like, people feel like they don't want to fight back, because it's like, you know, do you feel supported? Are you fighting alone? And even with, for instance, I know this was a big thing. I forgot what verdict it was. It's been so damn many of them. But when the mom caught her son out there protesting, you know what I mean? Or, you know, and then you see her on national television like, boy, don't you, you know, and I'm just like, well, you know, so now you're kind of sending your son the message. I understand your concern about his safety, but also in a way you're teaching him, hey, if you see something wrong, don't stand up and fight amongst your brothers and sisters. You know, don't do that. Just mind your business. And that's, you know, that's not right. Now, on the flip side, I want to ask y'all both this, because I'm reading the comments in the chat room about, you know, the inmates who killed the guards in the prison. And so a lot of people was like, well, oh well, and shit, they've been killing us. And I'm like, okay, is that the right attitude? I mean, I don't want to flip it, but you know, something like let's be fair in the whatever you want to call it.
In my personal,
it's coming from the chat room. But
in my personal opinion, all we have done as humanitarians, as Africans, by nature, we've always been trying to be one with everyone. Yeah. Our culture is a double-edged sword. Yeah. We're the most creative and the most open-armed people, but we've also can be sometimes the most destructive, in the sense that we're taking on the characteristic of an oppressor, and we're abandoning our own nature. And now we become just as destructive. And then what happens, as you're trying to fight back, as you're trying to regain your dignity and self-respect, you're now falling into the trap of a stereotype that they said about you 100 years ago or several hundred years ago. You see the double-edged sword here. So if you fight back, you're succumbing to a stereotype. But if you don't fight back, you continuously lose it. So what are you going to do? Yeah. Now, in my personal opinion, I'll go ahead and support your stereotype. I mean, your stereotype of how you perceive me, because I'm going to live to see the next day.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's just me, though.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I just want to I just want to chime in, brother Dark Warrior, on this. So, Sister Riziki said that folks in the chat room were saying, well, what about prison guards who have been murdered? Now, let me add this caveat. I'm not saying that all prison guards are like cruddy, but those are people that probably never been incarcerated before. I have been incarcerated before, and I've shared this public information. Now, and in my tenure, Sister Riziki, remember we were talking about
tenure, yeah.
But during my tenure, like I gotta be real. Like I always tell people, Sister Riziki, there's not an experience under the sun that I've never had. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm able to relate to so many people on.
Absolutely.
We could talk about, engineering. We could talk about college. We could talk about Paris. We could talk about prison. You get what I'm saying? I've had so many experiences. But one thing I can say is that during, my tenure there, you come across some very cruddy guards who are beating the inmates. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I've heard of women getting locked down, and while they're locked down, and when you get locked down, we call it 23-in-1. So you're locked in yourself for 23 hours. You're going to get to come out for 1 hour and either shower or go outside. That's maybe. It depends on the facility that you're in. But there were women who were locked down, who were put in lockdown, and while they were locked down, they were raped by guards. I've actually witnessed. I witnessed some women. Yeah, it was one girl that I was in there with. She was locked up for 3 years, but her child was a year and a half old. She was locked up for 3 years.
Wow.
She had a child that was a year and a half.
Wow.
So someone knocked her up, and it wasn't the women she was incarcerated with. Okay.
Wow.
So a lot of those guards, the women sleep with these guards for favors, like to bring food from the outside, to get cell phones in, get drugs in, to get, all sorts of what they call contraband inside of the prison. So they sleep with a lot of those guards. I've seen some guards body slam women on the yard. One body slammed the girl on the yard, and I think he like broke her back or something like that. I know her back.
Oh my God.
So what they did was when he did that, they locked the entire compound down. So when people say stuff like, "Oh, look at the guards that got murdered," in the prisons, I'm not saying that there aren't good guards. They are. And so my heart goes out, to those officers who were good and probably, were victimized in some way, shape, or form. But there are a lot of cruddy officers inside of the prison.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I asked them, have you ever been inside the prison walls? Like, do you even really know what goes down? We call it the G wall. Do you even know what goes down behind a G wall? Because if you do, you wouldn't be as empathetic or sympathetic when you heard about incidents regarding prison guards. I wanted to address that.
Absolutely.
No argument for me. I mean, I wasn't a CO. I work with people who are COs. Also, too, another issue that we're facing too in this line of work that I'm in. There's also a particular type of, I guess, quote unquote, caste system, if you will, where there's a superiority complex. And you're facing that too. Sometimes, believe it or not, it's not always racial. It's oftentimes just I'm better than you. Just because. And so what happens is, and I'm only saying that sometimes we got to be careful to not always presume that someone don't like you for your melanin, although 98% of the time I believe it's true. But I am saying that there is a superiority complex when it comes to law enforcement towards civilian, the citizen world. That I have so much of quote unquote power, and I can do at will. And it takes a very stable and civilized human being to encounter some of the actions like Brother Castile, may rest in paradise, and realize, hey, you know what? I'll give you the opportunity to present your ID, because guess what? I don't fear my own people. You see, and I don't have a deep, I don't have a superiority complex towards my people, because if I did, I wouldn't be working in Southeast DC, right off of Minnesota Avenue. You see, where I volunteer to work at.
But hold on, let me chime in on that, dog warrior, because look, I want to show a video.
Okay.
Of this cop, and I actually met this cop when I was in California. And when you say that cops have like a superiority complex when it comes to civilians,
yes,
you are 100% correct. Let me show you this video. This video is only a minute and 47 seconds. Check it out. He might be fired too.
Okay.
The chief is thinking about firing him. But listen to this.
All right.
Firearm and some other stuff. I would get fired for that. Not worth it. Plus, the round would skip probably off the water, and if it hit somebody or past the boat or something, then it ain't worth it. Nope. That's just dumb. I don't know what the sad face is for. Y'all probably get away with that in Tampa and the swamps out there. I only know because I've seen Discovery Channel and everything else. Oh yeah. So you guys are here. Some of the new people here. So I'm parking lot chilling. Really, it's my Friday. Really don't want to get into too much. And I'm chilling in the water here. And easy night because I really don't want to deal with much today. Yeah, I'm in the Charger today. We got one in front of the. So we got at my police station. We got a stop sign right there, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and he ran it at 40 miles an hour. I got it on camera too and everything. And so I chased him down and stopped him. There's a brother, he was like, how you gonna do this? We supposed to be on the same side, all this other nonsense. I'm like, look, dude, you can't run a stop sign at 40 miles an hour at 6 o'clock in the morning. I even shined my flashlight at you and you ignored me. And you just continued through the intersection. And so obviously you gave me a middle finger, thinking you was gonna get a free pass or something, or you just didn't care. So you got a ticket. You got a ticket for running the stop sign and then no proof of insurance. Because he pissed me off.
You heard what he said? I gave him a ticket because he ran a stop sign, had no proof of insurance, and because he pissed me off, hold on, because I was supposed to be off, and I had to chase his ass down. So that's why he gave him the ticket. He said I was supposed to, I don't know if you guys could hear it clearly, but in the video, he was basically saying, look, it's a Friday. I wanted to kick it. I wanted to be off today, but damn, I have to work. And he witnessed his brother running the stop sign at 40 miles per hour. So he said, I got pissed off. I had to chase this guy and I was supposed to be off on a Friday. So yes, I gave him a ticket because I was pissed. So basically you gave this guy a ticket because you felt like it and because you could. You get what I'm saying? That's a superiority complex. I'm going to do this because I can do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a bit of that, but it's also I'm assuming he was talking about a fellow officer, correct? He
was talking about a civilian.
A civilian. Okay, so he was talking about a civilian whom he felt as though should have given him more respect than what he earned, correct?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes, once again, I mean, this is just personal experiences, okay? Oftentimes what I have witnessed and sometimes what I have even dealt with myself is it's very difficult to set aside your emotion and understanding that person is probably just going through something. And you have to maintain some respect, some dignity, and saying, all right, let me find out what's going on in your life sometimes. That dude right there, that officer right there was probably just already in a bad mood in the first place because he was just ready to get off. And he took it out on the person that he pulled over. I will stand by my comment that there is a substantial amount of people in this profession who deals with a superiority complex, and that's just an example of one of them. I'll stand by that.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you a question. Did you, as you said, you have 17 years in, right?
So far, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you feel like, what do you think? Do you feel like when that badge, okay, so I know you guys go through like police academy.
I mean, I'm sorry. Can I just say this? I don't mean to cut your wisdom, sis, but I heard what the dude said. But at the same time, he did run a damn stop sign at 40 miles an hour when he wasn't supposed to.
Right.
So,
but my whole thing is keep all the extra ish out of it. Well, I did it.
I agree with that. So maybe he didn't have to say it, but at the end of the day, and I've witnessed that too. Negroes will do wrong, and then they want a free ticket just because we the same color.
I agree.
And just like just like brother was talking about, and I've always felt like this. I know just because we the same skin color don't mean we are part of the same tribe. So I, for one, know there will most likely never be a day all black people are going to be on one accord. Like I don't ever see that happening. But I do hear what you're saying. Yeah, he should have left that out. But I do also feel that we as a people need to take more accountability when we do wrong. So
I agree with that, sis. But at the same time, I felt like it was very arrogant and very to say, it's a Friday.
And he pissed me off.
And he pissed me off. I didn't feel like chasing him.
Yeah. That was unnecessary.
Like, what do you, it was, to me, I just felt like it was very arrogant. And that part was sickening. And it was unprofessional.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I gave him a ticket because he's like, I felt like it. I was supposed to be off from work today.
Yeah.
And I felt like it. Like, what? What do you mean?
And he didn't have to, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So that's the part I'm saying. I'm not holding the brother, responsible or accountable for running a stop sign and kill somebody. You get what I'm saying? But for him to get on YouTube and put up a video and
out of line,
how he doesn't feel like being at work. It's a Friday, and oh, by the way, this happened, and I gave the guy a ticket because I did not feel like being here. Not I gave the guy a ticket because I'm a law enforcement officer and I'm carrying.
And it's my job,
Right, and it's my job. It was
so he was inconvenient. It was an inconvenience.
That part was unnecessary.
The motorist is being punished because the officer was being inconvenient. I can see that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
being punished A for what he did, and then B because the officer said, "Hey, I didn't feel like chasing anybody today. I came in, it's Friday. I didn't feel like doing much work," and he was just like, so he was punished for two reasons: A, because he did violate a traffic law, and B, the officer was inconvenienced. He had to take him down.
Well, let me say this too. Sometimes what I find difficult is it's almost as though some society tends to forget that we're human.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I really mean that. I mean, sometimes I have to remind people that I'm just as much as human as you are. And sometimes I may make some mistakes. Now I have enough decency to apologize when I make the mistake. I didn't do everything right when I was in patrol, but I will tell you, I'll stand my record up against anybody when it comes to how I treated people, and how I do treat people. Like I told you about when I do my community cookouts and stuff like that. That's just always been my nature, to be around my people and to do right. I came into the system with all intents and purposes to really try to do better by us. And then by the way, I
will be there on Friday. Do you have the flyer on your Facebook page? Because I would like to share it.
Yes, I'll repost it again today. Once we end this phone call, I'll repost it on Facebook again for you to definitely share that with everyone who's in the area. Come on through. But dog, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, sometimes I've had my moments too. I mean, come on, I got 17 years where sometimes somebody just irritated the hell out of me, but I've never taken anyone's life. I've never beat anybody up, for the purpose of just for the sake of like, hey, I don't like you or something like that. I did what was necessary to make sure I got the job done. And a lot of us, there's a few of us out here that really are trying to do well by doing so. That brother losing his life was strictly off of that officer, in my personal opinion. That officer had already had a premeditated thought of hate or dislike or fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my honest opinion, because I have had guns pulled on me I'm telling you, I've had guns pulled on me. I've had moments where I walked up on a car and the dude had a loaded 357 revolver in his lap when I walked up on the window.
Mm.
I'm telling you, I've had people jump out their car and reach under their seat, and only for them to they was looking for their wallet, not a weapon. And in every last one of those cases, I could have really justified discharging my weapon. I did not, simply because I'm not there in the search of taking a life. I'm just there to just do my 9 to 12 hours and go home to the best of my ability. We got people that are infiltrating with the idea that they've never liked anyone of African descent. And you got your Spanish boys, your Italian boys, your Irish boys, your white boys, and guess what? Us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with them. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I'm telling you. This is not... people would come on and say, well, police officers need more training. It's not only so much training. It's just a cultural condition that the African in the United States and on a global level has just been hated. And until the Justice Department really start punishing people, and you're not going to see that no time soon because now you got Jeff Sessions in there. Mm-hmm. Until the Justice Department really start punishing these people, this is going to continue, and you need to start stepping your game up. You need to get to the range. You need to start learning how to shoot, and you better start ready to put in your work on even these regular okie dokes that's disrespecting you at the movie theater and the restaurant. Now, going against the police department, that's going to be an uphill battle that I would not recommend. But when you got somebody acting the fool just on you being out in the restaurants and things of that nature, you need to smack the taste out their mouth and make sure they never do it again. We got to start making an example. That's our problem. All that kumbaya praying in this fictitious whatever character you want to believe in ain't working. You better start fighting back, or it's a wrap. That's just my humble opinion.
Absolutely.
Tell the viewers, brother Dog Warrior, about the program that you have in the DMV, where you're teaching brothers and sisters how to shoot different types of firearms.
Yes, as a firearms instructor, I'm a federal law enforcement officer who's been trained as a firearms instructor, and also I have a license state of Maryland to teach. I will be conducting a entry-level class to teach you how to hold the weapon, sight alignment, safety of the weapon, how to store your weapon at home, things of that nature, how to carry your weapon in the car, what jurisdiction not to tread on when you carry a weapon. Federal jurisdiction, do not ever tread on them. I'm going to give you all of the information on what federal jurisdiction not to tread, how you transport your weapon, keeping the ammo away from the weapon, things of that nature. Okay? Once you go through my entry-level class, I'm going to be taking you to the range. We're going to go through how to shoot the weapon, your particular stances, how to shoot around obstacles, barricades, how to kneel, how to squat, lay on your stomach, all positions on how to discharge both your handgun, rifle, and shotgun. Those are the primary weapons that I'm going to be teaching you to shoot. And that's going to be starting up around September, my first classes in which I'll be teaching people how to shoot. And that's only people of African descent. I will not be extending my services out to anyone outside of the African descent. It's only for the quote-unquote conscious community. It is only for us.
So let me ask you a question, Brother Dark Matter. How long are these classes? So the first class you said will begin in the fall. What is the frequency of the class? Have you figured out the class schedule, the duration of the class?
The duration of the class is normally 3 hours. All you need is about 3 hours on the range. From my personal experience, anytime when you start getting over 2 to 3 hours, you're dealing with fatigue, both mentally and physically, and that's when your accidents start coming into play. I'm only going to need 2 to 3 hours of your day. The first 45 minutes of your day is us going through the classwork of entry level, how to deal with the weapon. The next hour or so the next hour and a half is shooting. And then the last 30 to 45 minutes of the class is us breaking the weapon down, cleaning the weapon, and showing you how to store the weapon. Okay. So there's a 3 hour class in which from beginning to end, I'll be teaching you all of this.
Is there an age limit for the class?
Yes, 18 and over.
Okay.
because the ranges in which I'm going to be taking you to are strictly for adults. Now, I do strongly recommend once that adult gets all that information, and I'll be giving out pamphlets, handing out pamphlets and everything. You then go back and teach your children. I recommend strongly you go to Dick's Sporting Goods or something. You get an entry-level 22 rifle, okay, an entry-level 22 pistol, and you take your children out to the range and start shooting. Start teaching them how to shoot, okay. A 22 rifle is a very good entry-level rifle to start your children. No recoil. It's not going to travel but so far. And also it will give them confidence. So 18 and above for going on the range to shoot, 3 hours of your day, and we will be ready to rock and roll. And if in fact you want to shoot more, either on your own, you can. And if you want to come back for some more assistance, then I can also help you with that too.
There are brothers and sisters in the chat room who said they're interested in your course. I see comments. Brothers and sisters are like, we love Dark. They say Dark Matter, Dark Warrior. They say, they're sending you hearts, and they're really loving the conversation. So, can they find you, Brother Dark Warrior? How can people contact you to get involved in this class?
Oh well, I appreciate that too. Give me by the end of this week, I'm going to get you the information to you directly, Doc, first, because I don't want anything on Facebook, family.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want anything on Facebook. So I'm going to be sending it directly to you, and then you can disseminate both my email and my cell number. You guys can call me directly. I'm up at 4:30, and I don't go to bed till about 9. That's my reading time. From 9 to 10 is when I sit it down and I read the middle lecture or something. So
we'll do everything word of mouth, because I'm with you. Everything is for YouTube, and everything isn't for Facebook. Everything isn't for Snapchat. So we'll like you said,
we have to. And also it's protecting me too. Don't forget, fam, I'm still on the job, okay? So I got about 3 or 4 more years, and then that's when I can really start opening my book to, you'll really start seeing the other side of me. Right now, I got to protect myself, okay? I got about another 4 more years. So keep it out of social media as much as possible. That's why I use my Facebook name. My YouTube name. But I showed my face to you to let you know this is me, This is what I look like, and you're my family. Melanin comes first. This is no act. This ain't no game. This is me. I love my family. I love my African family, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure we survive this, because I'm telling you right now, they're hiring so many Europeans at such a high at a high rate. We're going to need each other in this fight. It's going to get ugly. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, and I've been telling brothers and sisters that. I even told my sons that. I said it's getting ready to get ugly, and we have to be able to protect our household, our community. We have to. And I was telling my sons, I said, while you guys are learning these new dances, I remember my son came in here on Father's Day. My family went out. We went out to Moe's Fisherman's Wharf over in East Baltimore, and both of them were at the table. Sister Riziki, one of them, they doing this, right? And I looked over, and I said, what the hell are you doing? My mother, she's nudging me or whatever. And I'm so, while you guys are worrying about the new dances and the nay and best you can like me, you guys are doing, Mr. Riziki, I'm telling the truth, sis. So why they doing
It's so funny, yo.
Why they doing nay and why you dabbing? Look, sis, the whole the dab and all. So
right.
Doing all that, right? These guys are out here organizing. You get what I'm saying? They have think tanks, organizing, they're getting ready. They're ready for war. And our Asafo is not ready. We don't even have an Asafo. We don't have a warrior class right now. We don't. I'm talking about
we do. They just in jail. Yeah.
They did like they knocked our warrior class up. They
did.
They came through and they neutralized our warrior class, man. But we gotta rebuild the Asafo, and that's doing it the right way. That's linking up with brothers like Dark Warrior, arming ourselves with weaponry and learning how to shoot, and learning how to store our weaponry. And like he said, learning the law. Where can I take this firearm? You know, what are the do's and don'ts of carrying around this firearm?
Well, you know what? It's funny because Monday, the lecture I just did Monday, there is no reason why anyone who is listening to this chat right now should not be reaching into their pocket and purchasing a shotgun tomorrow. Shotguns are considered a sport weapon. You don't need you don't need to wait the 7 days. You can spend 2 or 3 instead of some Jordans or whatever. That nice bag you was looking at. You can go to Dick's Sporting Goods right now today and buy you a $200-300 shotgun, and now you've got you a nice weapon right there in your home to ready to start working. And guess what? Here's something else I wanted to let you know. The shotgun can be carried in your car. It is a sport rifle.
Oh yeah.
It's not a pistol. It is a sport rifle. Especially during hunting season. Especially during hunting season, you can then start go buy some hunting material just to keep in your back seat. You know, you don't hunt, who cares? But you know what? During hunting season, hey, I got my hunting. I'm going hunting. What you going hunting for? Deer, rabbit, whatever. Guess what? You got you a weapon in your vehicle ready to rock and roll. You need to get you a go bag. Your go bag consists of first aid. Your go bag consists of matches, a compass, food, water, all of that is in your car. If the city gets shut down, your disassembled weapon is in your bag with your go bag. You put it on your bag and you take a hike and get home. And you got yourself protection as you're going home. You need a go bag. You need a weapon. You need a knife. Okay, all of that. And that's what I'm going to be showing you in class.
Yes, battery, flashlights, like you said, battery, flashlights, candles, compass. You know, even Matt, I was telling my sons, I said, please,
that's true.
Put down the GPS, please. They kill me nowadays. You know, they use Google Maps.
Y'all are so funny. Yeah.
But am I telling the truth, right? These kids nowadays use Google Maps.
For everything.
Go to the corner store. So I tell my sons, put down the Google Maps. Learn landmarks. Familiarize yourself with landmarks and the names of streets. You get what I'm saying? Know your whereabouts. Learn your whereabouts. You know, so I think what Brother Dog Warrior is saying, and I've been also encouraging Black families to get a storage food unit. Stack it up with canned goods, with seeds, canned goods, water, with all sorts of things. Because I say, man, are we really prepared? Are we really prepared for a state of emergency? No. And what's going to happen? You know, when this revolution comes, because it's coming. When this war comes, are you ready? And if the war happened today, are you ready? Black people, do you know how to grow your own food? Because one thing that they're going to do when this war comes is oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. When this war comes, one thing they're going to do is try to subdue the civilian population by starving you out and starving you out, shutting down cell phone towers. Dark Warrior, you know what I'm talking about. They'll be shutting down cell phone towers, so you won't be able to communicate with your loved ones. So do you have walkie-talkies? You know what I mean? Do your family, you guys have like a meeting spot? So like if the revolution comes, all of us know, okay, when the sun is, at this degree or at this point, we are going to meet at that tree by such and such. Does your family have a meeting point? Do they have a family storage? Do you guys have candles and backpacks and food and a compass? And, do you have these things?
Right.
And a lot of Black families will tell you, no, we are unprepared. We are totally unprepared for this war that is getting ready to happen. And I'm not like trying to scare anybody, but there is a war.
But it's the truth.
There's a war that is ensuing right now, and we are not prepared. But we need to get prepared.
Well, once you come to the class, I'm going to show you all the walkie-talkies you need, all the equipment that you need. I will say right now, for everyone who's listening, please, at least go get you a shotgun. At least you can do that. if you don't want to go get a pistol and wait 7 days and go through the whole background check and all of that, there are still weapons out there that you can still obtain without having to go through that headache right now. Please get that.
So are rifles under the same category?
You can get your rifle too. You can buy that today, right off the shelf.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You can. There is no reason why you shouldn't be arming yourself right now. And I'm giving you outside of semi-automatic rifles like your AR-15s and all that. You can't do that. But like a bolt action rifle, like a hunting rifle. Right. Remember, I'm wink, wink, hint, hint.
Right.
Hunting weapons.
Yeah.
They're sporting weapons.
Right.
You can get them. You understand?
Right. Are you able to look at different sporting weapons and tell what they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll holler at you after we get off live.
Definitely got my number and stay in touch. I mean, Doc, you got my information and Sister Raziki, right? I'm sorry. Raziki, yes. Right? Definitely, definitely get that flyer. Yes. Hopefully, you can come to the community cookout also. Unfortunately, I have to head out. But by all means, absolutely. I'm here. You got my contact information. You have resources. Okay. You guys utilize your resources, please. I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brother Dark Warrior.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but Brother Dark, thank you so much for joining us, brother. We got to do this again soon.
Absolutely. I got to go do this 26-mile bike ride and go get my girl. So I'll be catching up with y'all soon. Okay?
All right, brother. Peace and power.
Okay.
All right, peace.
Brothers and sisters in the chat room. I'm telling you, that's a brother. I had the pleasure of meeting him at a lecture in Baltimore. I walked through the door and he looked at me, Sister Raziki. He started pointing, and I looked at him and he said, Dr. Ma'at.
You know you a celebrity, girl. You know you famous.
Dr. Ma'at. And I said, yes, brother, how are you? And I sat next to him and his queen. They came to a lecture in Baltimore that was given by Reality Speaks. It was an Ashwell Kwesi and Mary Kwesi lecture. I had the pleasure of meeting that brother in person, and I am going to see him this Friday at this community gathering. He's going to feed homeless in Washington. So I think he normally tries to feed maybe 100 to 200 people, and so he does this every month. And
that's good.
I told the brother I'm going to support him this Friday. I'll be there to hand out food and water to the less fortunate in Washington, D.C. So he's a very, very good brother. And I can't lie, I was a little bit skeptical when he told me what he did for a living. I was like, I was a little bit skeptical, but then we talked. Right. You already know, sister.
Me too.
I was skeptical, but I said I'm gonna feel him out. I'm gonna feel him out, and I have been. And so I'm like, see what the brother is about. But I definitely like his whole idea of putting together a class for African American people. How to arm ourselves. We will be going to the class. It's going to be in the fall, but to arm ourselves. Yeah, man, and how learn.
And I do agree that. Well, and do you feel that there needs to be more of us entering into the police department field, or we just need to focus on creating our own? Because I'm like, and he's right. We got to think of a way like infiltration, or I don't know. It's just, but we need our own protection squad.
Hold up, I gotta address Brother Ali in the chat room. He said, "So since you vouching for him, I was vouching for anybody."
You breaking up?
Look in the chat room, Brother Ali.
Oh yeah. I see him. He said, "So you vouch for him, sis?" Right.
No, Dr. Ma'at, because I don't want people to say Dr. Ma'at brought a fad into the no. What Dr. Ma'at is saying is that the brother seems to have good intentions, and I want to see what his intentions are. I'm not just gonna throw him away because of his occupation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's been our fault. We don't know how to utilize. We just want to throw people away. Not knowing what jewels you can get from them. There's plenty of retired Army veterans or whatever who could teach us military tactics, who, you know what I mean? They could come in the community and do the same thing. But I do understand the concern, like, you know, we want to make sure we ain't dealing with no agents, but, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because all black ain't black, and that's a fact.
Jack.
All black is not a fact. I mean, I said all
right.
black, that's a fact, Jack. So,
that's right.
Yeah, man. So I enjoyed his conversation. Were you online when we were talking about Prodigy, the death of Prodigy last night or yesterday?
No, I was not.
You heard about it, right?
Oh, yeah, I gave him a little shout out. Absolutely. I done did him a little quote. You know what I'm talking about? Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, you know,
yeah.
I want to close by acknowledging that brother again. You know, we lost a hip hop legend.
Yes.
Brother Prodigy. You know, I used to listen to their music a lot in the 90s. Mobb Deep, you know,
yes,
definitely a fan of Mobb Deep. My favorite album was the infamous Mobb Deep. Here's my cover.
I know we had all their albums.
Yeah.
They because the brother had sickle cell, and that's another thing too. You know, our health, got to take better care of ourselves. I mean, because 42 is young. You know, like that brother was very young, and but I know it's an uphill battle, even with T-Boz from TLC. You know, she battles with sickle cell, and there was a guy I used to date who died from sickle cell, and it's just crazy. It's definitely something that's I don't want to call it an epidemic, but yeah, we gotta learn how to work with that and cure it.
Yeah, but you know, I was reading the book, The Development of the Black Child. I think it's called The Development of the Psychology of the Black Child by Dr. Amos Wilson. And this is what he said about sickle cell. Hold on one second, sis.
Okay.
Let me grab the book because I don't want to misquote the ancestor.
Absolutely.
He's saying that sickle cell isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure I definitely want to hear what he's saying, but I just don't, you know, if it's killing people, I'm like, well, if it ain't bad, we need to make sure it's not killing a lot of people.
Okay, I have it right here, sis. I have it right here.
They said he died from choking off egg whites.
That's what some folks were saying, but
I guess
that's what some folks are saying. So this is the book I'm reading from, family, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. Good book by Dr. Amos Wilson. I'm actually on page 48. I need to get busy, but you know, it's a lot of information. You know, if anyone who's ever read a Dr. Amos Wilson book knows that, like, each
get time with it.
Yeah, you got to take your time with it. Each page, you get a bunch of information. Like with every page, it's a lot of information. But I'm reading from page 28. All right, on sickle cell anemia. It says the birth defect, which is limited almost exclusively to blacks, is referred to as sickle cell anemia in the sickle cell trait. This is a painful disorder which, starting before age 2 or at any age, may be the cause of many problems such as swelling of the fingers and toes, thickening of the bones of the hand and feet, pneumonia and respiratory infections of all kinds, headaches, lethargy, convulsions, paralysis, and coma, gingivitis, gallstones, miscarriages in the expectant mother, as well as possibly her death, the birth of premature or stillborn infants, and severe abdominal pains, similar in some cases to those of appendicitis. Half the victims of sickle cell die by the age of 20, and few live beyond 40. Some 8 to 10% Black Americans carry the sickle cell trait, i.e. they are carriers of the disease, but are rarely victimized by its symptoms. Some 50,000 Black Americans suffer from sickle cell anemia, and 3 out of every 1,000 Black Americans are born with the disease. What is the origin of this malady, and what does it and why does it affect Blacks almost exclusively? All right. Generally accepted answer to these questions was described by Abner in the following way. The single abnormal gene, which is the basic cause of the disease, common among those of African ancestry, because in Africa, it offered an evolutionary advantage, protection against malaria.
What?
A
Excuse
lot of
me?
people didn't know that. So we're looking at it like sickle cell. How do we get this sickle cell gene that is mostly exclusive? And the reason why he used the word mostly exclusive, because there are Asians who have sickle cell. They have
Sickle cell. Okay.
gene. So that's,
but our numbers are larger than the Asian population. Okay.
But remember, some ancestors, well, I don't want to put out, was it Joe? Or no, it was Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. One of them, I think it was Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. In his book, They Came Before Columbus, he said that, sickle cell was exclusive to sub-Saharan African people, but it's not exclusive to sub-Saharan African people. There are people in Asia who have the sickle cell trait right? But let me repeat this. The single abnormal gene, which is the basic cause of the disease, common among those of African ancestry, because in Africa, it offered an evolutionary advantage, protection against malaria. In that region, individuals who inherited two abnormal genes from sickle cell anemia usually died of that disorder. Those who had two normal genes often succumbed to malaria, but those who had one abnormal gene and one normal gene had a slight difference in their blood, which prevented malaria parasites from multiplying. These individuals survived, produced multiple offspring, and passed along the genetic abnormality to their descendants. Scientists have discovered the prevalence of sickle cell trait in areas of Africa parallels that of malaria. All right.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay.
So that's why we have it. And it says about, it goes into diet here. He was saying that a lot of those Africans, here it is. Gonzalez went on to report that the factor which seems responsible for protecting Africans against the lethal effects of sickle cell anemia is diet. All right. It appears, according to research in this area, that yams and cassava, which make up a large part of the African diet, are the richest source of thiosinate. This substance seems to be the effective ingredient in the African diet, which neutralizes the effects of sickle cell anemia.
I know that's right.
Dr. Amos Wilson, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. I read page 28 and 29 to you. So our ancestors say that we have this trait inside of us because it was an evolutionary advantage. It protected us against. All right. And they said that if you had one abnormal gene and one normal gene, then it protected you against malaria, and how the African diet.
But you said, because you read 3, you said, what was the first one? If 2 are the same, then they most likely die. Which was the first one?
Yeah, it was 2. If you have 2 abnormal genes from sickle cell anemia, you usually die of that disorder. Those who had 2 normal genes often succumb to malaria. So if you had 2 normal.
Okay.
If you had 2 abnormal, you died because of malaria. No. If you had 2 abnormal, you died from the sickle cell anemia. So you died from the disease. But if you had 2 normal,
you died from malaria.
But if you had 1 normal and 1 abnormal,
you survived.
And so
got you. Okay.
So these people survived. They produced offsprings, and they passed along this genetic abnormality to their descendants. So they said,
wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, when we think of sickle cell anemia, people are like, I mean, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, we have it because it was an evolutionary advantage inside of us. And it says that, what protected us against it was diet. And it says it appears, according to research, and cassava make up a large part of the African diet, which are the richest source of thiosinate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, family. This is the word.
Okay, thiocyanate.
Yeah, thiocyanate. It says this substance seems to be the effective ingredient in the African diet, which neutralizes the effects of sickle cell anemia. So sickle cell is not necessarily, like having a sickle cell gene is not necessarily a bad thing. You get what I'm saying? Based on what Dr. Wilson said. So some people are saying he died from complications with sickle cell anemia. Other people are saying that that he choked on an egg. So I mean, we don't know. What we do know is that we lost. What we do know is that we lost, a hip hop legend, and he was a hip-hop legend. So, you know, I put him up there with the Pacs and the Biggies, and I would put Prodigy up there. He was definitely hip-hop. I was telling my son today that the music that you guys call hip-hop is not hip-hop.
Yeah, it's not. It's not
hip-hop. You know, hip-hop was about,
that shit is mumble music.
Storytelling. You know, it was about storytelling. It was about empowering. You know, it was about disseminating. You know, I remember back in the day when people were, you know, on the whole 5% kick. You had Brand Nubian in them. They were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, they were breaking down the mathematics and knowledge.
Yep. Gangstar and all them.
That was hip hop. Hip hop was, you know, a tool, you know, to teach people, uplift people, and to comfort people. And I was telling them that the music that you guys deem or have termed hip hop is not the hip hop that I grew up on. You know,
I don't know what that shit called, sis.
I don't know.
I ain't gonna try to put in no category, honey.
Yeah, it's degenerate. It's degenerate music.
It is. I feel stupid listening to it. I be like, my IQ is lowering every moment this song keeps playing. Like, stop, turn it off.
Exactly. But, you know, I do got to give a shout out to people like J. Cole. Yes. I want to give a shout out to people like Kendrick Lamar.
Absolutely.
There's another brother on the scene. His name is Joey Badass.
Okay.
I listened to a few songs, and, you know, he was on a revolutionary kick. So we do have, you know, I was telling my son, in y'all generation, y'all have a couple of beacons of light, but, you know, other than that, man, they're very far and few between. Yeah, no doubt. I just want to thank everybody, man, for joining, you know, the Tea Talk with the sisters. I want to thank Brother Dog Warrior for coming through and you know, and shedding some light, you know, on, you know, just giving us his perspective as a police officer on these police shootings, the verdicts, what we need to do as Black people, what we need to do, man, to protect ourselves, our families, our communities, our ethnic group, you know, against future incidents. And so, Black people, what are we going to do? I'm at that point, Sister Riziki. What do you want to do? We got to stop recording. Please put the phone down.
Oh, man.
How to defend
you know
ourselves.
What we got to support our goons. Let me say this story right quick, and people can see the picture on my Facebook. But I had this little full moon ritual thing that was going on, and one of my homeboys called me, and these are a group of brothers. And matter of fact, y'all can Facebook him. His name is Ricio. I forgot his last name, but he one of the brothers reached out and was like, "Yo, you know, me and my brothers, we on this mission, but you know, we just feel like we need to be protected or whatever." I'm like, "Okay, come through, you know, let the sisters come, put some healing on you, whatever." So it was like 10 dudes who came dressed in black. And mind you, when you see this picture, I'll share it later, but they're all in a circle holding hands, and you see all the women just like, you know how people just want to touch and agree. And he didn't get into it, but this brother came with his like 9 other warriors, and they was again all tall with their beards and bald head. I'm like, oh snap, you know what you about to do, bro? You know. But anyway, so
I said Riziki.
Oh yeah, I got excited. Okay, you're right. I'm focused. I'm just saying, but no, when you see the brothers in their warriorhood, that do something to a woman. At least it should. Shit. But anyway, so but to make a long story short, they was just saying how, you know, they tired of seeing the killing, and you know, they really want to be the start of this army, this force, these warriors that, you know, our community needs, and they call themselves the KOA, Knights of Atlanta. And I've seen them. They've taken road trips to South Carolina or just certain places where these court trials are happening and these verdicts are wrong. You see what I'm saying? They even went up to Flint, Michigan, all of that. And I'm like, you know, I'm proud of those brothers because they saw something and they actually made it happen. The thing that's irritating is, you know, the community knows that we need stuff like this, but, you know, we need to give these brothers some donations, or, you know what I mean? Like, support them. If you have brothers who take it upon themselves to risk their life, you know, or whatever, to go out and do this, like, we have to support them, because not everybody's built to be a warrior. I can understand that. Not everybody's built to do that. So when you got people stepping up, support them. Shoot.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. What is the sister name who is speaking? Oh, Riziki. All right. But yeah, so that's important. So I'm proud of those brothers. Big shout out to KOA. and Recio. I forgot his last name on Facebook, but yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of those brothers too, and I agree with you that we have to support people who step up. You know, and we lack that in our community. Again, I love that passage that you read from Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Power Economics. But he how it needs to be a cultural practice that we spend and that we buy and to each other. But we need to have a cultural practice. We need to make it a cultural practice to support each other. We don't support each other, Sister Riziki. We support everybody outside of us. That's why in my household, we try to buy black and bite black every chance that we get. I'm talking about our detergent, down to our toilet paper, down to our clothes, our books, the films that we watch. We buy black in my household. It's a cultural practice in my family. Yeah. Like even yesterday, and I don't want to call any names, but a friend of mine had a birthday dinner at a 5-star restaurant in Baltimore. And while we were on the way down there to the restaurant, my boyfriend said to me, I don't even feel comfortable going down here because he's used to us dining at black owned and operated establishments in Baltimore. He felt uneasy. He was like, baby, we getting ready to go down here and spend $150, hundreds of dollars because it was a 5-star restaurant. Yeah. I think it was 3 couples. So it's 6 of us. And you figure each entree, you're looking at spending about $50. So you went from $150 to, for each couple, and it's 3 couples. That's almost $500. Yeah. Include the tip. So, in my household, when we spend money outside, like when we give our money to an Asian or to an Arab, in my household, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't. It feels like we're violating our household. Yeah. So it needs to be made a cultural practice. Yeah. To support our own. So, like you say, when brothers and sisters are stepping up and trying to defend our communities, we need to support them. When brothers and sisters are stepping up and trying to heal our communities, such as yourself, Sister Riziki, such as my other brother, you always go back, Chief X. My other brother Chief X. Oh, yeah. We need to support our community. Yeah. The brothers and sisters are opening up supermarkets. Shout out to the sister in Compton, California, who opened up a supermarket called the Grocery Outlet. And I'm going to bring that sister on the show, hopefully next Wednesday, to talk about that. This is opened up a black owned and operated supermarket in Compton. And I'm not talking about a grocery store like a corner store. This is a real ass grocery store. That's comparable to a Food Lion, a Safeway, a Shoppers, a Giants, any of those major supermarket chains. Yeah, we need to support that sister. And you know who's there? People who look like us. So she hired her family, her friends, people in the neighborhood. We need to support her. I don't understand how black people feel comfortable supporting people who don't look like them. And I want to share something with the family before we close out. I want to share something with the family. This summer, what are your children watching while they are out of school? What are they watching? Are they tuned into Meltrek? What are your children watching? We talking about the Asafo and saving, saving the future. Well, we had to understand, Sister Riziki, that the future starts with the children. You got to remember that. You have to remember that whoever molds and shapes the minds of the children, whoever controls, molds and shapes the minds of the children, controls and molds and shapes the future. So we sit here in the black community, we say, children are our future. We love our children. They're our most precious possessions. But then you sit your child in front of Nickelodeon all day, or you sit your child in front of the damn Disney Channel all day, or you taking your child to see, what's that new damn movie, Despicable Me 3, when they showing our children all of these different perverse stuff. Yeah. You love your child. Bullshit, Sister Riziki. And I want to do a show. We got to do another Dear Black Mothers either tomorrow or Friday. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of black mothers. I hear a lot of black mothers saying, I love my baby, I love this, but how are you investing in the minds of your children? And you can't simply tell me that's sending them to school, and I'm talking about the public school system. You can't tell me that you're investing in the minds of your child simply by sending them to school and then providing them with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not, that's just not it. You get what I'm saying? How are you investing in the minds of your children? Meltrek is investing in the minds of our babies. It is empowering our children. It is reshaping the worldview of our children. I get emails every day, Sister Riziki, from parents saying, thank you, Dr. Oya, for creating this Meltrek project. My son has more confidence. My son is starting to love himself, or my daughter, is starting to love himself and viewing our race totally different. Get your children's Meltrek, please.
Yeah.
AnimeProductions.com. Support the Meltrek movement. That's what I'm gonna call it, Sister Riziki. The
Meltrek movement. Beautiful. Meltrek movement.
Support it. And this is a movement designed to empower our children by inundating them with positive self-images. So when you buy Meltrek, you don't have to sit your kids. You can sit your child in front of the television, Sister Riziki, and walk away and know that we're molding and shaping their minds in our best interests.
Right, absolutely.
Of the oppressor, but in our best interest. Because right now we need to develop children, Sister Riziki, that will be of benefit to us. When we send out children to schools and we allow our oppressor, because it's his curriculum, when we allow our oppressor to mold and shape the minds of our babies, he is molding and shaping the minds of our baby for the sole benefit of him. It's for him.
Yeah, and their future. Yeah.
It's for the advancement of his culture, not our culture as people. So please, family, if you don't already have Meltrek episode 1 and 2, you can visit edanimeproductions.com to secure your copies, or you can simply go to Google, type in Meltrek, and you will be directed to the website to purchase this. And I recommend this for all children of color. We're getting ready to start working on Meltrek episode 3.
Snap.
Next, and I don't even want to tell you the topic, Sister Riziki. Because you got people that I'm gonna tell you offline, not on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You have folks, man, that try to steal your idea. I'm gonna tell you, Meltrek episode 3 is going to be a first of its kind. This sort of topic has never been taught to children, and so. Meltrek episode 3. I mean, even Meltrek episode 1 and 2, a lot of those concept ideas haven't been taught to our babies. But Meltrek episode 3 is really going to hit home with African American people. So family, please support.
Okay.
I love you. You have any last words, Sister Riziki, for the family?
Nope. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and power. See y'all next week. That's all I got.
Peace.